Good morning, and again, the holidays are over, so we will be continuing with our topic for today. So, bago po matapos, sana okay yung bakasyon ninyo and iset na natin yung sarili natin sa pag-aaral ulit. Okay? So, let's move on with our topic for today. So, let's see. Okay, so our topic for today is about variation. So what do you mean by variation and how do we deal with this problem in math? So these are the different kinds and also computation. So today we will be dealing with the variation and how to compute different kinds of variation. Again, let us set our target for today, and at the end of this lesson, you should be able to, the first target that we will be aiming is to define variation. So since we have here now the topic na may variation po tayo, ano yung tinatawag po nating variation? Second topic will be state different kinds of variation. So, ilang klase ba yung tinatawag nating variation sa math? Basic math, to be exact. And identify the constant of variation. Dito sa constant of variation, medyo confusing siya kasi constant tapos variation. Mamaya, we will dig in deeper. And last, we have to be able to solve different kinds of variation. So magsosolve din po tayo in this topic. Okay? So first things first, the first question that we have to ask is what is variation? Now, if you notice, we have here now 1, 2, and 3. What are these? It's more like a pancake, I think, na may palaman. Pero kung mapapansin po natin, meron ditong green. We have here now a peach, and we have here now a brown. Basically, different flavor style. Now, variation comes from the word vary. So, ito pa. Nanggaling pala, the etymology of the word variation comes from the word vary. So, ano naman yung tinatawag po nating vary? So, vary means to change. Vary means change in and of itself. Okay? So, pag pinag-uusapan natin yung variation, we will be dealing with changes. Now, here in mathematics, variation is a change in the value of function due to small changes in the values of its arguments. Now, what we're talking about function here, sa previous topics natin, first quarter, it is the function of x, which is literally equal to y. So, there will be some changes in that dahil may pagbabago rin magaganap dun sa argument or dun sa independent variable natin, which is x. Okay? So, yun po yung tatandaan natin. When we try to talk about variation, meron po tayo ditong pagbabago. So, we will be dealing with changes here. So, we have here now different kinds of variation. What are those different kinds of variation? The first one is the direct variation. And each of these kinds will be discussed deeply as we move along with our discussion. The second one will be the inverse variation. The third one will be the joint variation. And the last one will be the combined, or some of the teachers also call this one the combination variation. So we have here now basically 4 types: direct, inverse, joint, and combined variation. If we will be dealing with variation, the very first thing that we have to understand is the constant of variation. It is also known as the variation constant. So every time that you will be hearing constant of variation or variation constants, we will be talking about this one. Now, ito yung sinasabi kong confusing kanina. Constant means steady and doesn't change. Kaya nga, wala talagang halos constant in this earth, di ba? The only constant thing here is change. While variation means to change. Na kung papansinin po natin, ito yung sinasabi kong confusing kanina. Yung constant ay hindi nagbabago, pero yung variation, nagbabago siya. And yet, we are talking about constant na variation. Pinagsama sila. So what does that mean? Ang ibig pong sabihin yan, no matter what changes happens between variables, lumaki man siya o lumiit siya, their relationship doesn't change. So in this case, most probably, we are talking about x and y. So it doesn't matter what changes happens to x, what changes happens to y, still, yung constant or yung relationship between x and y, hindi po magbabago. And I hope I'm making sense here. May pagbabago yung x and y, pero yung pakikitungo nila sa isa't isa, hindi po magbabago. Yung relationship nila. It's just like having your own son, habang lumalaki kayo, nagkaroon ng pagbabago sa inyo individually, pero yung relationship nyo dun sa son mo, hindi nagbabago. Kahit tumanda ka pa, kahit mamatay ka pa, son mo pa rin siya. So that will be the representation of our variation constant. And in mathematics, the variation constant is represented by k. So ibang variable, we can use that. Pero dito sa constant of variation, para lang po constant siya, hindi magbabago, we will be using this one, k. And most probably, you have already noticed, sa iba, hindi siya italic. Pero itong constant of variation natin, we will be using an italic value of k. Okay, so let's move on. What do you mean by direct variation? Dito po sa direct variation, ito yung una kong paliwanag. And I think may mga teachers din po tayo na ganito yung nagiging paliwanag. And sabi, kapag tumataas yung isang value, apektado rin yung kabilang variable, tumataas din yung value. If x is getting bigger, y should also be going up kasabay po niya. And nung una, ito rin yung aking sinasabi until may nagtanong na estudyante. I have here now a quiz and then negative yung ginamit kong constant of variation. Kung napansin natin, as x is increasing, y is decreasing kasi yung variation constant niya, negative. Halimbawa, if k is equal to negative 2, and then yung x natin ay 1, what's the value of y? That will be negative 2. If x is 2, ano yung magiging value ng y? Negative 4. So habang nalaki yung ating x, yung ating pong value ng y, naliit. At dun po nagkaroon ng problema. Sabi, sir, inverse variation yan. Sabi ko, hindi, direct variation. So I have to understand more, at ito nga yung share natin, what do you mean by direct variation? Pag pinagsasabi po ala nating direct variation, hindi siya yung kapag tumaas yung value ng x, tataas din yung value ng y. That is basically not the correct definition of direct variation. Pag sinabi nating direct variation, the scale of one variable will be equal to the scale of the other variable. Ngayon, maaaring may magsabi, sir, ano yung scale? Ito yung multiplier natin. Ginagamit itong scaling, to be honest, sa mga architecture. Sa pagpaplan, halimbawa ng bahay, may model, 1 centimeter is equal to 1 kilometer, or 1 meter, should I say. So, nangyayari po dyan, imumultiply. So, yung scale natin, pag nabasa natin yan, may multiplier tayo. If we scale x up by an amount, so nag-scale up tayo ng x, we will also scale up y by the same amount. Dito sa paliwanag natin, ipapakita natin yung sample. And sa direct variation, we grew by the same scaling factor. Habang lumalaki po yung value ng x natin by the same by a scaling factor, yung y natin ganun din, mag-explode din siya by the same scaling factor. Let's have an example. I have here a table of values. y at saka yung x. Now, yung 1 at saka yung 2 sa value po ng x natin. Look at the value of y, 3 at saka 6. Pag sinabi nating scale on the same variable, yung 1 para mapapunta sa 2, ang scale natin ay times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So, ang scale natin from this point up to this point is actually times 2. Yun yung scale natin. Now, sa kabila, yung 3 natin, para maging 6, ang scale natin still is times 2. So, parehas lang po siya. By the way, ito yung sinasabi natin, yung y at saka yung x. Kapag direct variation yan, kung ano yung y, ganun din yung x, meron lang tayong constant of variation dito. Okay? So, halimbawa, ito yung negative 3. Balikan natin, negative 3 to. Okay? So, yung atin pong 1, papunta rito, times 2. Kung negative 2 to, negative 3, times 2 natin, dapat ito negative 6. Ito yung sinasabi ko po kanina. Ito ay nalaki, ito naliit kapag negative yun parehas. Pero pansin natin, ano ba yung k natin dito? Is the relationship between variables sa pagitan ng x at saka ng y. Ano ba yung scale nila? Is the scale of 3 in this case. Yung 1 para maging 3 times 3. Hindi magbabago yan. yung 2 times 3, 6. Therefore, the constant of variation is 3. Ang sinasabi po nating each variable will grow by the same scale factor. Ito, scaling factor. Within the same variable lang. X lang siya, times 2. Ayan. So, paano kung may 3 dito? So, yung coming from 1, papunta rito, ang scale niya times 3. Sa mga tuwid, yun na andito natin, yung scale niya dito, papunta rin sa pinakaibaba, times 3 din. So, ang magiging sagot dito, 9. Okay po? Pero, yung scale natin, or yung relationship between x and y, dun sa magka-partner, hindi magbabago. Yun yung constant of variation. Okay? So, again, the constant of variation here is 3. Now, if we will be asked to get the equation of the variation, babalikan mo lang yung formula. Yung constant of variation, ipapalit mo lang dito sa ating k. Ayan. So, that will be the equation of the variation. Y is equal to 3x. Hindi mawawala sa equation yung y at saka yung x natin. Kung ano man po yung variable na given. Ang mapapalitan lang, pag tinanong sa ating equation, yun pong constant of variation, 3. Wala ka makikita sa equation ng k. So, I'm hoping medyo maliwanag po yung pagkakasabi ko sa direct variation. Okay? Now, the second one is the inverse variation. Kung direct, ito, basically, ito yung kabaliktaran ng direct variation. It is the reverse of the direct variation. So, if we scale up one variable, yung kabilang variable naman, we have to scale down. Baliktad naman. Now, pansin natin yung x and y. I still use 1 and 2 here. But if you notice, yung pong ating y, 6 at saka 3. Pababa naman, ito pataas. Okay? Pansin natin. Yung k natin, hindi siya mababago. I-remove mo muna yung k. Y is equal to 1 over x. Kanina sa direct variation, y is equal to x. What we did, dahil magkabaliktad nga sila, inverse, we take the reciprocal of the dependent variable. Y is equal to k 1 over x. Or, if we will be seeing this, pwede nating simplify ito. Y is equal to k over x. Ito po yung magiging value natin. Sir, bakit hindi yung k ang ginawa nating 1 over k? Kasi yung k constant na yan eh. Kapag nilagyan mo siya ng 1 over k, magbabago na po siya dun sa nauna niya. Okay? So, hindi natin babaguhin yung k. Ang pwede natin baguhin, yung mga variable po natin. So, since k is constant, ito yung sinasabi ko, we can change the value of k. K is again the relationship of the variables, papunta rito. The scale of x to y is 6. So, the constant of variation is actually 6. So, 1 times 6 natin, dito pala. 6 divided by 1, yun, that is 3. And 6 divided by 2, ito yung 3 natin. Parang may mali ako rin na. Ulit. 6 divided by 1 is 6. And that's correct. And 6 divided by 2, that will come up with 3. Ito yung formula natin. So if we will be asked what is the equation of this inverse variation, again, yung k lang po yung papalitan mo. Pag alam mo na yung ating k na value, palitan mo lang yan. Ayan. So the equation of this inverse variation is y is equal to 6 over x. Okay po? So recap lang natin kasi yung foundation natin will depend largely dito po sa direct at saka inverse variation. So direct, y is equal to x, lagyan mo lang ng k. Sa inverse, y is equal to 1 over x, we take the reciprocal of the independent variable. Saka mo lagyan ng k. Ayan. Okay po? So move tayo. Joint variation. Ano naman yung joint variation natin? So, visiting forces agreement, joint military exercises. Parehas sila ng goal. So, dito tayo. One variable depends and varies directly. So, I have caps lock, the word directly here, to 2 or more variables. So, instead na isa lang, kung pag-iisipan po natin itong joint variation, direct variation din siya. Kaya lang, hindi lang sa iisa. Hindi lang siya nakadepende sa isang variable. Direct variation siya na marami. Ayan o, directly. To 2 or more variables. So, if we say y varies jointly as x and z, ang formula natin, direct variation din. Y is equal to k, x, z. Ito yun. Direct lang din siya. Nadagdagan lang ng mga variables sa dulo. Now, ito yung kung papansin natin, we have here now the comparison between direct and joint variation. At the same time, this is an easier way para po makapag-solve tayo kung may nawawala. And mamaya magagamit natin yan sa mga samples po natin. So, y is equal to kx, y is equal to kxz. So what I did is I put this into a triangular formula. Yung nasa left, yung equal, yung nasa taas. And then over, yung nasa kanan. Kasi nag-multiply lang tayo. So pag nawawala yung y, takpan mo, y is equal, anong naiwan? K times x. Kung nawawala yung k, so k equals, takpan mo, sir magkapatong yung y over x. So equals, magkapatong y over x. Kung x yung nawawala, x equals, takpan mo ulit yung x, ang natira, y over k, which means y divided by the value of the variation constant. In like manner, sa joint variation, we can apply this one also. Ayun yung y, nasa left side, ilagay mo sa taas. Equals kxz. So nawawala yung y equals, takpan mo yung y, sir magkakahanay, multiply mo. Sir, nawawala yung k. So, k equals, takpan mo yung k dito. Sir, y, nakapatong sa x times z. So, yun yung formula. Y over xz. So, kahit ano po yung nawawala dyan, i-equal mo lang, tapos takpan mo yung nawawala, yung natitira, yun na mismo yung formula po natin. Okay? So, again, joint variation is technically direct variation din siya na mas marami yung variable na involved. Okay? Last, we have the combined variation. It is the combination of direct and inverse variation. So in this given, meron tayong direct, tas meron din tayong inverse. Pinagsama lang sa isang equation. So to put into perspective, this describes a situation where a variable depends on 2 or more other variables. Paano siya nakadepende? Varies directly to some of them and varies inversely to to the other. So, dun sa ilang parte dun, directly siyang nagbabago, pero yung ilan na natitira, nagbavary siya inversely. So, if we will be talking about y varies directly with x, but, or and, inversely as z, then the formula will be, pagsasamahin mo lang siya sa isa, ayun o, y varies directly sa x, k times x. Inversely sa z, k over z. Pinagsama lang po. Ganun lang po siya kasimple. Okay? Ngayon, sa pagsasolve, kung mapapansin natin, i-minove ko dito. Bakit? Halimbawa, ito na yung formula natin. Ito yung main formula. Don't get me wrong. This one is the main formula. Ngayon, kapag magsasolve tayo, may ibang nawawala, yung denominator dito, i-cross multiply ko doon. Ayan. Bakit po ganun ang ginawa ni Sir? Para kung may nawawala, halimbawa, this is x. I'm sorry about that. This is x. Let's change this one muna. Where is that? 9? That is x. Okay. Okay. So, why I did that ay kasi kung nawawala yung x dito, takpan mo na lang. So, x equals. And then, yung katabi niya, ilalagay mo lang sa ilalim. So, nawawala yung x equals yz over yung katabi ng nawawala. Over k. So, kung nawawala halimbawa yung z equals, takpan mo yung z, sir, ito magkasama pa rin, kx. Yung kasama nung z kanina, mapapunta sa ilalim dito. It will be much easier for you to solve. Ano po? Next. If we say y varies jointly as x and w, pwede po itong directly y varies directly as x and w. So, ang ginawa ko na lang jointly para makita natin na pwede rin palang kasama yung joint. But, or and inversely as z, then, ayun, x and w over yung inversely lang yung nasa baba. Z. Okay? Again, inilipat ko lang doon para sa pagsasolve. Kung ano nawawala, tatakpan ko, yung kasama nung nawawala, ilalagay sa ilalim nung wala kang tinakpan. So in that way, you will be having a formula na magagamit mo. All you have to do is to substitute. Para mas maintindihan, let's have here now an example. So we have sample given for different kinds of variation. Number 1, direct variation tayo. Sunod-sunod lang to direct, inverse, joint, and combine. So y varies directly as x. Anong mga value given? Y is equal to 8, x is equal to 2. What is the value of k? What is the equation of variation? So the first thing that we will be doing, kunin muna natin yung given. Once we come up with the given, formula muna tayo. Directly yan, so y is equal to k times x. Ang ginagawa ko kapag ganito, doon sa first 3, maliban sa combine, itinatransfer ko kaagad siya sa triangular formula. So, ano nawawala? K. Takpan ko yung k. So, k equals, ang natira, y over x. So, yun yung magiging formula. Once na makuha ko na po yung formula para sa k, substitute ko yung given, 8 over 2. And upon substitution, simplifying this, may value na tayo ng k, which is 4. So kung 4 yan, tinatanong sa atin, what is the equation of the variation? Kagaya nung nabanggit ko na kanina, babalikan mo lang yung formula, kaya nga una nating pinasusulat ito. Isa-substitute lang natin yung value ng k. And we have here now the equation of variation. Y is equal to 4x. Okay? Nga pala dito, pwede y varies directly as square of x. Magkakaroon lang ng square dito. So kung nawawala yung square o yung x, pagka-divide mo nito, square root mo lang. So, please do take note po dun sa example na yun. No? Pero technically, this is the basic and this is what I want you to learn muna. Okay? Gusto ko lang mabanggit yon para just in case na may ma-encounter tayo, alam natin yung gagawin natin. Now, number 2, this is inverse. Y varies inversely as x. Formula? The given. Y is equal to 3, y is equal to 15 over x. What is the value of k? What is x? Pwede tayong magtanong, sir, dalawa yung y. Pero dito sa y, kasama rin yung x. So pag nakita nyo magkasama yung y at saka x, this is already the equation. Okay ba? So ang formula natin, ito. Ilagay lang natin sa triangular formula. So ito nasa taas na. So ito yung nasa taas lang talaga. K. Y at saka x, ito yung magkasama. Anong nawawala? K, takpan. K equals, sir, magkatabi. X times y. So, if the equation is already given, meron na pala tayo ditong value ng k, ayun, you can simply use all the numerical values you can see in the equation and use it as the constant of variation. Ito yung equation natin. As I have mentioned, sa atin pong equation, ang makikita mo na lang x and y, tas yung number. Yung number, yun na nga yung k. So dito, in this case, 15. So hindi ka na pala magsosolve dito pag given yung equation. Kung ano yung number na makikita mo, yun na yung variation constant. Sa paano ko nakalagay dito? 15 over, let's say for example, 4x. Ano nakikita mong number? 15 over 4. Sa makatwid, yung pong ating k, 15 over 4. Basta kung ano yung makikita yung number, yun po yung variation constant. Kung fraction yung makikita nyo, fraction yung variation constant. Okay po? Sana maliwanag. I hope I'm making sense here and you're learning something. Ano po? Now, hinahanap sa atin yung value ng ng x. So, takpan yung x. X is equal to magkapatong. K over y. Okay? Substitute the given, 15 at saka 3. So, the value of x is equal to 5. If you're following these videos, medyo madadalian lang po tayo sa mga ginagawa natin. Okay, number 3. Y varies jointly as x and z. So again, the given is y is equal to 3, x is equal to 4, z is equal to 6. What is the value of k? What is the equation of the variation? Formula natin, varies jointly. Y. Yung varies, tandaan nyo, kapag ganito ang given sa atin, yung varies will serve as the equal sign. And then, yung susunod dito, yun na po yung malaman natin. Jointly, so magkasama yung x at saka yung z, ayun yung k natin. So, triangular formula natin, ayan. K ang nawawala, ayun. Takpan, k equals, anong natira? Y over x times z. Substitute the values. 3 yung y, x at saka z, 4 at saka 6. This will be eliminated, 1/2, so that is 1 over 8. So yung k natin, 1 over 8. Equation of the variation. Balik tayo dito sa ating equation. Palitan lang yung k. Y is equal to 1 over 8x times z. This is the equation of variation. Basta tinanong yung equation of variation, again, nandiyan yung variable, ang number lang, yung ating constant of variation. Now ito, this can also be written as y is equal to xz over 8. Baka kasi yun ang makita nyo, sir, paano yan 8 lang yung nakakita namin? Over 8 eh. Ano yung nasa taas na number nun? 1. So ang constant of variation, 1/8 pa rin. Okay, last. Y varies directly to x and w and inversely to z. Given. Y is equal to 8, x is equal to 3, w is equal to 6, z is equal to 9. What is the value of k? What is the equation of variation? So, formula. Varies directly. Saan? O kaya nakalagay, varies jointly to x and w. Ayun. Inversely over z. Anong nawawala? K. So, iayos muna natin, ilagay natin doon. Nawawala yung k. So, k equals, etong kasama ng k, ilalagay mo sa ilalim lang nun. Yz over xw. Substitute natin yung mga values. Y is equal to 8, z is equal to 9, x is equal to 3, w is equal to 6. Ayun. Simplify natin. This is 2/3. This will be cancelled. So, natira 8 over 2. That is equal to 4. So, the constant of variation is equal to 4. Now, kapag tinatanong sa atin, ano yung equation? Again, balikan lang natin yung una nating formula. I-substitute lang yung k. Sa mga tuwid, the equation of this variation is y is equal to 4xw over z. And there you have it. We have here now our different kinds of variation. So again, I hope you learned something, guys. And sana po natuto kayo. Again, keep on learning. Start na po ulit tayo ng bagong session ng pag-aaral. And I really hope that we can learn something from here. So, keep on learning, guys, and good morning.